We are in a quandary. Understandably, we like to make the most of the opportunities that modern technology has to offer us. This is particularly true with our increasing use of wireless and digital devices and communications. We regularly chat, text and email across the whole world, as well as order our films online, and program our satellite navigation equipment to effortlessly show us the most trouble-free route. The generation that's been born into these comforts uses this bright modern technology with an often virtuoso expertise. Their lives revolve around the digital and the virtual. On the other hand, the warning voices of scientists and highly qualified medical experts in all fields, from the most renowned universities and research centers worldwide, are increasing. The damage that can come from the influence of electromagnetic fields ranges from burnout to brain tumors, as well as from early insomnia to depression, to name but a few. All around the world, the warnings are increasing, but they're overshadowed by the attractive, self-confident world of consumer products, by the industries that are increasingly absent of thoughtfulness towards humanity and its well-being. A usual situation in the modern world is an app for everything, an internet connection, even in the car, and remote digital technology, even in the bedroom. It's clear that our generation's unnecessary digital dependencies are worsening. We have added an insidious constant stream to our increasingly stressed-out world. Let's make it clear. Memon does not want to and cannot turn back the wheels of time. But at the same time, Memon does not want to ignore the warnings, the research results, and the clear findings of scientists. It's also a pathway to offering feasible, pragmatic solutions supported by science which can protect us, our animals and plants, and our environment. Using 20 years of research, Memon has developed a technology that protects us all, everywhere, from artificial radiation. The memonizers dissolve illness-inducing pathogenic information and protects from electronic smog, areas of geopathic stress, and improves our air quality and our water. In short, Memon is a biotechnological instrument that can be very successfully deployed in a mobile phone, in the car, at home, and at work. A US research team led by the renowned scientist Dr. George Carlo summarized the unique characteristics of Memon technology in 2010, following a 4-month-long double-blind study. Memon technology has an antioxidant effect, has a rehabilitative effect on disturbed intercellular communication, has an indirect biological and a direct energizing effect, and has a long-term protective effect. This also refers to the fact that our cells react intelligently to positive influences. A scientific field that opens many exciting prospects for humanity. I now always link to Carlos's representations and those of cell biologist Professor Lipton, who writes quite clearly that these lipid membranes that ultimately form the cell wall actually show the sensitive ability to decide whether to switch on or block their patency, depending on the environmental frequencies that the cell membrane is subjected to.
die Durchgängigkeit freizuschalten oder sie zu blockieren.
If I can naturally switch on the patency by harmonization of the frequencies or by blocking less ideal frequencies, then I can control the repair process. And that is a quite sensational statement.
Und das ist eigentlich eine ganz sensationelle Aussage.
Memon ist eigentlich ein Universalgenie.
Memon is actually a universal genius. One could show, for example, that the so-called neurostress parameters melatonin, serotonin and DHEA increase when you eliminate electronic stress by installing this memonizer. That leads to better sleep, a better immune system, better defenses, increased regeneration and a better psychic state. And you can develop it further so that in the end, it also protects you from chronic illnesses, diabetes, angiosclerosis, even cancers and dementia.
Arteriosklerose, selbst Krebserkrankungen und Demenzen. Die Rückmeldung ist, ich schlafe besser.
The response has been, I sleep better, I just feel better. I can concentrate better. I'm not as forgetful. I'm more productive. I don't need an afternoon nap anymore. That was the case for me, for example. I can drive for longer. I can even drive for 8 hours without getting tired, which was not the case previously. We receive these responses all the time. Memonizers distinguish themselves in particular by being really simple to use. At home, the Memonizer Combi was specifically designed so that by simply plugging it in, it starts working. The setup is so uncomplicated and simple, the effect is so complex. The name Memonizer Combi was not created by accident. The motorsport legend Hans-Joachim Stock is one of the main partners of the Memon management team. A consultant and coordinator at VW, he knows what he's talking about if, when talking about the future of the car, he always links it unreservedly with Memon. We've hidden more and more electronics in cars. Computers communicate with one another. Cars are connected to networks and become hotspots, are already hotspots, and it's because of that you need radiation protection in the car, just as you do with your mobile. That's naturally a question of safety, because I can concentrate better when I'm exposed to less radiation, to fewer harmful substances. So Memon is an important partner for me for the future, an accessory that has to be in the car, just as you have ABS and ESP in the car. Then in the future, we almost certainly won't be able to do without these things. The principle of protection is actually of the highest priority in progressive medical research. The awareness since the introduction of mobile phone technology in the middle of the 80s is spreading all the time. So under constant electromagnetic pressure, our blood develops a so-called rolling phenomenon. It's not the generation of heat in mobiles that's pertinent to eventual damage to our health, but the cell reaction. One drop of blood is enough to show the subtle difference. The picture of the blood after a phone call with a Memonizer mobile shows the desirable free flow of blood cells. In 2011, an historic milestone was reached in industry. 5 billion mobiles are connected to the World Wide Web. 5 billion, a figure that is at once impressive and concerning. Does anyone believe that the so-called electric smog is just imagined by a few crazy people? Our philosophy at Memon is to prevent. Just a small step for us all, with immediately evident success. Science has long been aware of the necessity of prevention in order to reduce stress. The preventative nature of Memon technology is also evident in our most important developments, water. In an elaborate and complicated manufacturing process, Memon engineers were asked the following question. Whether in the last few years it's been proven to the user that Memonizer Combi and Memonizer Water could be used simultaneously at home, in the pool, or in special versions for hotels or swimming pools. Water flows into the house alongside electrical cables and absorbs subtle levels of information. Memon can harmonize and neutralize these immaterial, subtle vibrations that actually have an effect on the water in our bodies, so that they do not have a negative effect on people. Quite the opposite, they have a positive effect. It also has a stimulating and detoxifying effect on our organs. In the Memon headquarters in Rosenheim, Bavaria, 30 employees look after a steadily growing base of Memon partners. As well as the neighbouring countries of Austria, Switzerland, Holland, Belgium and France, we also increasingly deliver to the USA, Australia and Asia. The popularity of the products has not come about by accident. Users around the world speak of simple handling and immediately noticeable effects. Since I've been using Memon at home, the amount of dust has been piling up. We've noticed that quite clearly. We never used to wipe away as much dust as we do now, because the fine particles collect together. We've also got 2 other members of the household, 2 dogs, and it's clearly noticeable that the dogs have become calmer, more relaxed, and I have to say that I'm enjoying the pleasant atmosphere in the house. What I particularly notice at home is the improvement of the Memon treated water. I've got my own spring next to the house in the Tyrol, which produces great water, but thanks to Memon, memonization of the water, even the tap water, coffee and tea taste noticeably better. Andrea and Rainer Klopper are typical Memon fans. While looking for complete freedom from stress for themselves and their guests, the hotelier and business consultant discovered Memon as a congenial partner. I sleep noticeably deeper and really well since we've had it. I need an hour less sleep and still wake up in the morning feeling fresh and well recovered. For me, that is a phenomenal sign. In the office, I no longer get tired in front of the computer. In the meantime, it's all problem-free, which was previously not the case. In our family, we're very busy and have a lot of work. Due to the constant flow of guests in the hotel, from 6 in the morning to 10 in the evening. From that point of view, it's amazing how it has a partial effect on the psyche. We are relaxed with each other. Everything can be dealt with gently and tolerated. It's brilliant. Many guests have asked us whether we've changed something about the bed, whether we have new mattresses, for example. Our regular guests have definitely reported sleeping better from one year to the next. That's the experience of most. The guests have also had this experience with the water. They say that it's really smooth and soft. We have good water anyway here in the mountains, but Memon has improved that even more. It's basically the case that patients have more and more chronic illnesses, and the stresses are mainly geopathic disturbances, just like all the low-frequency, high-frequency stresses, namely electronic smog. Here we're trying to find an optimal solution that's simple and really works long-term and is verifiable, and that is the case with Memon.
Wir hatten letztes Jahr die Schule gegründet hier mit 9 Klassen, sehr viele Umarbeiten.
Last year we founded the school with 9 classes and a lot of alterations. Very quickly we noticed, even though we used organic biodegradable materials for colours and natural paint for the floorboards, that the smells were so strong that sometimes we couldn't continue our lessons. Employees soon had skin irritations and streaming eyes. It was really good, therefore, that we were put in touch with Memon through one of our volunteers, and the next day a transformer was installed. It was noticeable within 1 or 2 days. The smells had reduced to such an extent that lessons and the school day went really smoothly.
Sodass der Unterricht und der Schulalltag wirklich gut laufen konnte.
The Bauhof in Klein-Süßstedt is one of the oldest Demeter groups in Germany. We've been working biodynamically since 1932 according to the beliefs of the Demeter organization. Since we installed the memmonizers, we've noticed clear changes in the animals. They drink noticeably more water, and we've noticed a general improvement in the health of all the animals. We've had a memonizer installed since 2003. Since then our water has been softer, and this has been confirmed by our guests. Guests with neurodermitis or chlorine allergies now come to our baths. The wear and tear of the fabrics is no longer as high, and that's good for us, as more guests, around 40%, now visit our baths.
Dass zusätzliche Badegäste ca. 40% mehr dieses Bad besuchen.
I sleep better. I'm more relaxed. Here in the practice, I've noticed that patients are more relaxed. The waiting times are also sometimes longer. We had a lot of grumpiness at the desk, and often queries. In my opinion, that has noticeably improved since installation here in the practice. The patients are calmer, more relaxed, and I find the working atmosphere of my employees, who can be difficult sometimes, has clearly improved. My personal opinion is very positive. What I've noticed most is that the employees here in the office, who have a heavy daily workload, are clearly more energized and take more enjoyment in their work. You notice it because it's really positive. The best feedback was from a customer, a butcher, who called after 4 days and said, "Herr Egerer, I've been liberated." The verdict was, we are liberated from all bad or negative influences, like dust particles, electronic smog, or geopathic disturbances. My problems were extremely severe hay fever and constantly changing, and partly also food intolerances and dust allergies. With Memon in the house, it's become gradually less. It's not just suddenly changed from one day to the next, like when I take medication, but it's just gradually getting less. Where do you use Memon? We actually use it, as I've said, from morning till night. So at home, in the car, in the office, at friends' houses. Sometimes it's as though it always feels like that, because I take it with me to somewhere that doesn't have it built in. We use it around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.